Hi, I'm Peter Charles of Hooked for Life Fly Fishing, and this is another one of my videos on melding fly fishing technique with conventional tackle. Today I'm going to look at using a Carolina rig the same way I would cast a crayfish pattern on a fly rod. So let's take a look at what I'm going to be using. On the conventional tackle side, I have a Compre rod with a Shimano Symmetry 4000 reel, 20-pound Timber Power Pro Super 8 slick line. I've got a top shot on here, and on that top shot I have a sliding tungsten weight, a bead, a swivel, and a Jackall cover craw rigged with a worm hook, and I've rigged it through the tail, not the head of the cover craw, because I wanted to go through the water in this fashion. Now, in terms of my fly gear, I would do something very similar. I'd have my leader, I'd have a split shot above the tippet knot, and I would have my crayfish pattern here. Okay, in this next segment you're going to see me use the Carolina rig the same way I'll use a fly rod. I'll cast it across the current, slightly downstream, and I'll let the current bring it across, and I'll pulse it or jig it to give it some life. And I'll pick up smallmouth doing this, and occasionally I'll pick up a carp as well. I'll actually fish for carp this way with the fly rod, casting again across the stream slightly down, and just pulse it across the bottom and let the carp pick it up. So it's a very, very effective technique, and it works both with conventional tackle and fly gear. So let's see how that worked out. Okay, I'm out in the Grand River, and I'm trying something for the first time. It's the idea of using a Carolina rig for river bass, using Jackall cover craw, soft plastic. I'm using the current to help me move this downstream, keeping the rod tip high so it'll get it to bounce along the bottom. A little bit of a jig, give it some life, make it look like a crayfish that's just trying to escape along the bottom. The bottom here is ideal for using a Carolina rig because it's mostly silt, sand, gravel, rock, small rocks, very little weed. The weed growth is usually along the shore, like over there, but out in the middle there's nothing. Now what's interesting is I do this when I'm fly fishing. I have basically the same setup, which is a crayfish pattern, some split shot, leader, and I'll just use the current to pop that crayfish pattern along the bottom, and in the process make it look like a crayfish that's trying to escape. And I get a lot of fish doing that. Unfortunately today we've had thunderstorms go through, so I have no idea if we're going to get anything. Probably not. You know, this thunderstorms that went through this morning probably put all these fish down, but I'm going to give it a whirl anyway. There's a nice hole in here that should hold some fish. Got one. Oh, he's off. That was a good fish. That was a really good fish. Ha! That was unfortunate. Man, he was pulling hard. Ah, it works. I like that. So basically what I'm doing here with this spinning rod is exactly the same as I would with the fly rod. I'm casting downstream. I have a crayfish pattern when I'm casting a fly with a split shot a foot or so above it, and I just bump it along the bottom and I pulse it to give it some life. Here I'm jigging it instead of pulsing it, but same concept, and I'm letting it swing in the current. So the current swings it downstream, and then I just give it a little pump and lift the rod tip, reel down, bring it across. Oh, that was a fish. Shoot. Better check that hook point. Got one. This one's not as big as that other one, unfortunately. Oh, I still got a little bit of heft to him. There we go. I don't know, about 1.5 pounds, maybe 2. So, there is ample proof that this method works. Basically copying a fly fishing technique. The way I fish this river with my fly rod, using a crayfish pattern and some split shot. Another one! Oh! I think we can put this down as effective. He's pulling nice and hard. Come here. Here we go. Another nice fish. Probably about a little over a pound, probably. That's not bad. 2 fish on 2 consecutive casts. Can't complain too loudly on that one. Get the bass slime off my hands. Well, it's not bad. After major thunderstorms rolled through the area, 2 lost, 2 landed. Can't complain too loudly. I'll take that. When you get close to you, give it time to get down. The angle changes means that it takes longer to sink to the bottom. There we go. Little guy. Let it sink to the bottom and he grabbed it. Yeah, he's a little guy, but man, he's still pulling. Come here. There we go. There we go. That was a very subtle take. Not a big fish, but it's a fish. Very subtle take. Never felt it until it started to move the line. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day after this guy. It's interesting how there's a convergence in the techniques, that one's using a fly line and one's using Power Pro, but you know, apart from that, you're still doing basically the same thing. And it has the same results. You catch fish. Anyway, back to the truck and get the video downloaded.